Okay, I hear we're live. Hi, everybody. I am Lisa Katzenberger, and I am coming to you from Barbara's Bookstore in Burr Ridge. We're near Chicago. They have a lot of great locations around the Chicagoland area, and I'm so grateful that they invited me here today to read to you It Will Be Okay, a story of empathy, kindness, and friendship. It's written by me. I'm Lisa. I think everybody out there probably knows me. I have a lot of friends. Hi, friends. Thanks for being here. And the illustrations are by Jacqueline Sinquett, and she did an amazing job with this book. So let's dig in, let's have a read, and then we can chat a little bit afterwards. And I have to say, this is dedicated to my mom, who taught me to love books. Thanks, Mom, for taking me to the library all the time. Every afternoon, Giraffe and Zebra walked to the watering hole together. But today, Giraffe couldn't go. He would have to tell Zebra. Zebra, Giraffe called to his friend. Zebra twisted this way and that, but he could not find Giraffe. Up here, Giraffe sighed. Look at him up there, all the way up in a tree. What in the world is he doing up there? Zebra looked up, up, up. Finally, he spotted Giraffe, who was sitting in a tree, holding on for dear life. What are you doing? Zebra asked. I saw a spider, Giraffe whispered. But you are bigger than the spider, said Zebra. Your eyelashes are longer than its legs. I am scared, Giraffe said, his voice soft. It might crawl up my hoof. But you are stronger than the spider, said Zebra. You're as solid as stone. He's as wispy as the wind. I am worried. Giraffe's voice shook like his knees. It might chase me. But you are faster than the spider, said Zebra. You'd leave him in the dust before he took a single stride. Come down from there. Giraffe shook his head. And that is one determined giraffe. Zebra sighed. It's just a tiny spider. Giraffe understood Zebra's frustration. It did seem kind of silly being scared of something so small, but no matter, he was scared. He was worried. He was embarrassed. Giraffe expected Zebra to leave, but Zebra waited and waited some more. As the sun dipped down in the sky, Giraffe searched for the spider. He didn't see it anywhere. Giraffe was nervous about getting down, but his heart told him it was time. So little by little, leg by leg, Giraffe unwrapped himself from the tree. Thank you for staying by my side, Giraffe said, even if it seems silly. It's not silly if it bothered you. I'm always here for you. Zebra smiled. Let's go to the watering hole. Suddenly, Giraffe stopped. There was the spider walking all alone. Giraffe looked at the spider. Then he looked at Zebra. With his friend beside him, Giraffe felt brave. He bent his long neck down to the ground. Spider, would you like to join? But before Giraffe could finish his question, the spider scampered right up the very same tree. He's scared of you now, Zebra said. That's so silly. Not at all, Giraffe said. Then he stood back and wicked. Amen. So that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I loved writing it. I wrote it back in January of 2017. I started then and I wrote 40 different drafts. So it was a long time getting to this, getting this out into the world. I'm so excited. So my buddy Dan here is going to handle the Q&A and ask me some questions. So if you guys have questions in the chat, you can go ahead and put those in. And I'm happy to talk to you virtually.
Okay, so the first question literally just says Penny, Gamma, Pop, Pop, waiting.
Penny, Gamma, Pop, Pop, waiting. Hi, Penny and Gamma and Pop, Pop. I'm so excited that you guys are here. Thank you for joining. Love you guys.
Okay, next question is, how did you find your illustrator?
Oh, how did I find my illustrator? That's a really great question. So this book is published by Sourcebooks Kids, who is here in Chicago. They're based in Naperville. And I am an author who cannot draw. So what I did was I sold the book to Sourcebooks, and then they have an art director and an editor, and they are in charge of hiring the illustrator and finding that person and working with them together. And so I got to see some pencil sketches that Jacqueline did and got to give a little feedback, but it was amazing. And then I got to see watercolor art that she did. And we changed a few things on a few pages, but it was just so beautiful. And so for a picture book, a writer and an illustrator usually don't connect too much. We each kind of bring our own vision to the story.
Next question is, what was your inspiration for writing the story?
What was my inspiration for writing this story is the next question. So I saw a picture. I should carry it with me when I'm out and about because I want to show it to people. But if you Google giraffe in a tree, you will find a picture of a giraffe sitting in a tree. And it's totally photoshopped. But I saw it on Twitter and it was a writing prompt and it said, caption this picture. And so I thought, what would make a giraffe climb a tree? And instantly I was like, oh, it saw a little spider. And I thought that that was too silly. Why would a giraffe be afraid of a spider? And then I thought, well, maybe he is. Maybe we all are afraid of things that maybe seem small to someone else, but feel really, really big to us. So I kind of started exploring that in the story, and that's where it came from.
Next question is, did you get a chance to meet with the illustrator or chat with the illustrator at all?
Next question is, did I get a chance to meet with the illustrator, Jacqueline, or chat with her at all? I did not. We didn't connect until we connected online through Instagram after the book was finished and we had the final arts. And I was so excited to tell her how much I loved the book and what a wonderful job she did. But usually publishing houses will keep the illustrator and the author kind of separate so that I've done my job with writing the manuscript, and then she gets to come in and do her job and bring her her thoughts to the story.
Okay. The next two are very similar.
Okay.
40 drafts. How did the early drafts differ from the final?
Okay.
And I think you said you wrote a lot of drafts of this book. What changed the most?
Okay.
And the second half of that one was, and I love the illustrations too, beautiful story.
Thanks. Okay, so 40 drafts was basically, there was a couple questions about 40 drafts. So I started this in January of 2017. My writer friends out there who are in 12 by 12, hey, this was my January 2017 12 by 12 draft. And that is a challenge to write a picture book draft once a month. So 12 picture book drafts in a year. And it's really, really hard, but I've been doing it for 5 years. Sometimes I do 12 drafts, sometimes I don't. I definitely didn't last year. But what changed the most was the beginning and the end. I had a lot of characters. I had more than just Giraffe and Zebra. I had too many characters, so it was too distracting. And then I had a version where Giraffe was stuck in the tree, but I really wanted him to talk about and admit his emotions, that he just was plain scared. He was feeling really worried. He was feeling really anxious. So the middle was very similar if I look back at my first draft. And then the ending, I changed that completely. So during 40 versions, it was really the beginning and the end that I was working on.
Next is, how did you decide on the zebra?
How did I decide on the zebra? Well, I was looking at animals that live where giraffes live, and boy, I hope my research was right. I had an elephant, but I had dialogue between the giraffe and the zebra in my early drafts, and that felt like the friendship that I wanted to focus on. And so because zebra was one of the first animals to speak in the story, he kind of spoke to me. And so I kept him along. And I love that Jacqueline made him blue and white. I think that's so adorable. It makes him just such a cutie.
Next question is, do you get to approve the illustrations before it's published?
Do I get to approve the illustrations before it's published? I don't get to approve them, but I get a chance to see them and provide some feedback, maybe some suggestions. And one of the things, mostly I had feedback on what page things went on. And I had wanted this final page with the sunset at the end to be where then he stood by and waited. I wanted that text to be on the final page. And so I gave that feedback after I saw Jacqueline's watercolor art. And she changed it and she made this beautiful, beautiful spread that was just outstanding. So I had a little bit to say, but not a lot.
Next, what were some of the too many characters that got cut?
What were some of the too many characters that got cut? I have to go back and look. I know there was an elephant. There might have been a lion. There were some ants. There was a version where I had ants following the spider after he kind of walked away. Those are the ones that I remember. It's a cute question. I'll have to go back and look.
There's a fun. Make sure I didn't miss any.
Okay.
Are you working on any other books?
Am I working on any other books? Yes, I am. I have a story about a crocodile and an alligator who are buddies in the swamp and try to solve some mysteries and help their friends out. That's a chapter book series that I'm trying to get sold. And then I have some other picture books about a silly robot. One is a biography about a man who is very important to me in my life. But those have not sold yet, so I'm still kind of working on getting those out.
What were your favorite books when you were a kid?
What were my favorite books when I was a kid? My favorite book as a little kid was The Monster at the End of This Book with Grover. I read that thing over and over and over again. Oh my gosh, so many times. And I don't remember reading picture books like this, like in the 70s and early 80s. But I remember reading a lot of little golden books. I remember The Pokey Puppy, Three Little Kittens Who Lost Their Mittens, those kind of fairy tale stories. And then as I got older, I read everything by Judy Blume. I read a lot of Nancy Drew. And those were kind of Beverly Cleary, all those great books, which my daughter Sydney, I think, is reading some of them now. Yeah.
Do you use children as beta readers before you submit to agents and editors?
Do I use children as beta readers before I submit to agents and editors? So a beta reader is someone who reads your story before you send it out on submission. They're like a critique partner too. And my beta readers are my kids, Sydney and Ryan. I let them read my stories and they will give me an honest opinion. And if I change something, they will sometimes say, oh, I liked it better the way it was before. So I do have them read. And one manuscript I'm writing right now is a biography. I had Sydney go through and write a question mark by any word she didn't understand. And that really helped me kind of make sure the language was at the right level for a 8 or 10-year-old.
Was your first title very similar to what it ended up as, or did that go through several versions as well?
Oh, was my first title very similar to what it ended up as, or did that go through several versions as well? No, my first title was actually, my first title was called I Am ... And it was like when Giraffe is saying, I am scared, I am worried, I am embarrassed. And then I got some feedback that just wasn't punchy enough. And so then I changed it to Scared Silly. And then Kelly, my great editor at Source Books, gave some really good feedback that we didn't want kids to think that it was silly to be scared. And we wanted to really highlight the emotion and the empathy in the story. And so the great team at Source Books came up with a final title of It Will Be Okay.
Next question is, can you please share a bit about the process of finding an agent?
Can I please share a bit about the process of finding an agent? Oh gosh. Okay. So, right. Dan is sitting back for this one. He knows that's a long question. Write a lot of good stories. Google a lot. Research agents. Find the ones that really match what your vision is and what you like to write. And I'm teaching a course at the Writing Barn right now about picture books, and I just taught a lesson on querying. And I tell people send 5 to 7 queries at a time and wait to get feedback, and then see what kind of feedback you're getting, and then you can send another chunk out as well. So that's kind of some advice I'd give to get started.
Do you have a favorite page?
Do I have a favorite page?
Yes,
I do. It's this last page. And he stood by and waited. It's just, and if you can see, I don't know if you guys caught that, but the spider is right up there hanging from a little thread. And it's just, they're holding hands, they've got their arms around each other. They're waiting for him, just like Zebra waited for Giraffe. So it's showing his change, that he's grown and now he's kind of paying it forward to another new friend. It's my favorite for sure.
Penny wants to know if she can send books to other kids in her family.
Penny wants to know if she can send books to other kids in her family. She sure can. I can send some books out. I've got lots at home, and I'll get them signed for you, Penny.
The next is, how do we order a signed copy with the event coupon code?
How do we order a signed copy with the event coupon code? That's a great question. So you can order a signed copy from Barbara's Bookstore on their website, which I imagine is barbarasbookstore.com. It is. Dan tells me yes. And I believe the event code is EVENT, and that will get you 10% off your order.
Laura is telling me to tell you to click the button.
Click the button. Okay, Laura says there's a button. Boop, click the button, and that'll get you an order.
You want to make sure I didn't miss any questions?
Sure. We've got a lot of good questions, you guys.
I had a question that's not on the question page. You said that you were working on a children's book with an alligator?
Yes. Dan has said I was working on a picture book, children's book with an alligator.
Would you try to get the same illustrator to illustrate it in the same style as that book? Or would you try to get a different illustrator, or even the same illustrator but do it in a different style? Okay,
Dan asked a really good question. The book that I'm working on with an alligator and a crocodile, would I try to get the same illustrator, Jacqueline, to work on that? So I would love to work with Jacqueline again. All of that is super out of my control, but I'll put it out in the universe that I would absolutely love that. And it's a chapter book, so there will still be spot art through it and a fun cover to do and to really bring these characters to life. She's great with animals.
Another question is, I ordered your books via my local indie bookstore. Will you be willing to send signed book plates?
Will I be willing to send signed book plates? Yes, I can work that out. If you guys know me personally, shoot me an email. We'll do something.
I think
we got through all the questions. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of questions.
I guess last call. Yeah, last call.
Oh, okay. Last call for questions. If you guys have any other last burning question about me, about the book, about writing, we'll give it a few more minutes and see if any pop in the chat. And then if not, we will go on with this really, really cold day in Chicago. Everyone who's joining not from Chicago, I think it's about 9 or 10 degrees here. It's just really kind of icky. So I'm happy to be inside. And gonna go home and snuggle up under a blanket.
And we'll hang on, there's a delay. So
Okay.
I'm waiting to see if any
Questions come in. Okay. We're gonna hang on for a bit to see if any more questions come into the chat because there's a bit of a delay.
What type of tree is it?
What
Imagine
type of,
from the last page.
oh, what type of
Or
tree
I guess
is
throughout
it?
the entire story.
That's a great question. I don't know what type of tree it is, but I'm going to find out from Jacqueline if she had a specific type of tree in mind, and then I'll post it on Twitter. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is @FictionCity.
Next question is, how do you write on a computer or composition book?
Oh, how do I write on a computer or a composition book? I do everything on my laptop. Sometimes I have written first drafts like on the phone. If like kids are in gymnastics or something and I have an idea, I'll just kind of type it in an email to myself. But I don't do anything longhand. Sometimes I will print out a copy and then I go through and read it and make some markups and things like that. But I love the feeling of the connection of just typing.
Okay, I see two more questions.
Two more questions.
Next one is, my daughter wants to know if you'll write another book about Giraffe and Zebra.
Oh, will I write another book about Giraffe and Zebra? That's a great question. I wonder if Giraffe and Zebra and Spider, their new friend, could have a little adventure together. I am going to think about that. Thank you.
Okay, the next one's a very loaded question.
A very loaded question.
Are you ready?
Uh-oh, okay.
How many siblings do you have, and who is your favorite? And there is a name attached to that.
I know, you don't have to tell me what sibling that was. How many siblings do you have, and who is your favorite? Anyone who is my family knows who that question came from. I will not name any names. I will say I have 7 siblings, and I love them all exactly the same.
Okay, I think that's it.
We've
gone through 22 questions out there.
22 questions, wow.
Plus the one that I asked that I didn't type into there. So
yeah. Okay.
I think that will do it.
I think